What up, y'all? Sticks and Politics. So today, the discussion that we're going to have today is something that I've been seeing that's being put out there, and as a straight man, it deeply concerns me. For one, because nothing's ever guaranteed in life. You could always end up back in the dating game. And if that was to ever happen to me, God forbid, goddamn, I want to stay married. But if that was to ever happen to me, I don't think I'd want to be in this dating game that is available and seems to be progressing with this current motivation and speed. And then the second reason why I feel like this concerns me is because I do have a son, and my son's going to grow up, and he's going to become a man, and he too will date, and he too will have to be in the dating game. So this involves me because it involves my child's future. And as we know, any good parent worth their salt cares about their child's future. And any problems that may arise in their future, they try to at least try to deal with or manage before a child hits said problem, so that way it don't become a roadblock in their life. And what I'm actually talking about is the trans community. And the reason why I'm wanting to talk about this is whenever the trans community first started becoming a thing, I know y'all say they've always been a thing, but no, we've never had men who's had surgically altered bodies to become women or to pretend that they're women. So this is the first time this has ever happened. But what they're doing is, whenever it first come up, I said that I was against it because I said, hey, the only reason why they're doing this is because they're going to want to pretend that they're women, and they're going to want to manipulate straight men into having sex with them. And I know a lot of y'all are like, well, if it's two consenting adults, what does that matter? Well, manipulative rape matters. And when you physically alter something to appear as one thing but is actually another thing, that is a manipulation. Just like if a man had a female, I ain't even gonna say, well, yeah, I'm just gonna go that route. And so if a man had a female that was into him and they had done things with each other, and they decide to go out one night, and he decides that he's going to physically alter one of her drinks. Now, the trans community likes to use the excuse of, well, we're two consenting adults. What does it matter to you? They didn't ask first, so it was consensual. Well, that would be like the man physically altering a drink and putting a roofie in it, and then saying, well, dude, she was a consenting adult. She drank it. She didn't ask if there was any drugs in the drink. Rape is rape. It don't matter how you manipulate somebody, whether it be with a drink or whether it be with a medically altered body. Manipulation is still manipulation. And if you're not completely honest with somebody, there's the problem. And if you're going to have a problem with this video, it is because you are one of the ones who do manipulate people. And you are one of the ones who is willing to rape someone, and you find it funny. But what I'm actually doing is, I think that there needs to be new laws that's being put into place that protects the straight community. There's so many laws that's being written out and put out that protects the gay community, but there's absolutely nothing that's being written that protects the straight community. A trans person does not have to tell you that they are trans before they sleep with you. So let's say you meet this girl and she's a beautiful girl, because I have seen some trans women that I really would not know that they were men. I'd have no fucking idea. I would have slept with them, and then if I would have found out, I would have flipped the fuck out and probably done something that landed me in prison for the rest of my life. But what they're doing is rape. I mean, there's just no way around it, and we need to have laws that does protect the man that just doesn't expect that he's going to be lied to. And if you are a trans woman and you meet a guy and he tells you you're pretty and all this stuff, these are compliments that men give women, and you know that he's a straight man and that he ain't gay, you should tell him that, hey, I was born a man, and I decided I wanted to become a female. You should tell people these things, and you should be required by law to tell people these things. Because if you don't tell them, let's say you get with someone and you've already had sex with them, and let's say like the relationship starts going south. Human beings are known to say things that will hurt someone. Example, a non-racist gets in an argument with a black person, and the number one thing that they're probably going to shout is the N-word. Because in their mind, the racist thinks, well, how can I attack this person? Psychologically, that's going to cause the most damage. And they resort to that. So whenever you meet this person and you think it's a good-looking girl and you have sex with them and the relationship starts going south, what do you think the one thing that they're going to say? Oh, well, you was a FAG because you fucked me. In my opinion, that's going to lead to violence. And honestly, if that was the exact situation, I'm not going to say that I believe in killing people or harming people, but if that was the situation and that happened, it would be kind of hard for me to be against it. Because nobody wants to be raped. And most people, whenever they are raped, I'm sure y'all have seen the movies like I spit on your grave and stuff like that. Most people, whenever they get raped, a lot of people, especially someone who has testicular fortitude. You don't got to be a man to have testicular fortitude. You could be a woman too, and you can have you could just be a bad bitch. And that happens. Ronda Rousey, she's one of them. That's a bad bitch. She'll beat your ass. But most people, whenever they are raped, violence is the first thing that crosses your mind. And I know I know with today's society, they're, don't be violent. This sissy crap. But most people, whenever something like that, something as catastrophic as being raped happens to you, the first thought is of violence. And in today's society, we really don't have a use for violence. So we need to do and have laws that can protect and possibly stop the spread of violence. That's the reason why I feel like we do need to have manipulation law, a manipulative rape law being put into place, specifically for the trans community, because this shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't be allowed to be a man, surgically alter your body, lie to someone, and pretend that you're one thing when you're really another thing. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, they're actually women. Honey, a real biological woman can go get her DNA checked and it will say she's a woman. When a woman dies and her body has been discovered hundreds of years later, they can do tests on the bones and figure out if it was a man or a woman. So scientifically speaking, it's impossible for a trans woman to be a real woman. I mean, they could be a trans woman. I'll give them that. Yes, you are a trans woman. But trans is the key word. You can't leave that out, because you're not a woman, you're a trans woman. There's a big difference. And this whole thing that of this whole trans community, they're getting to the point to where they're starting to say straight men should be forced to date them. And they're using word games and manipulative actions to try to fit their agenda, is because the ultimate goal, the straight sexual orientation, is under attack. Whether you believe it or not, if you are not gay, you are in a war. This is a war on you. The LGBTQP do want to eliminate the straight sexuality. They do not want no straight people. This is the reason why they're adopting children. It's not because they want to be families. It is because they want their children to educate or indoctrinate. I don't want to say educate because it's not educating. They want their children to indoctrinate your children, because they know that if you flip out and go cuss out somebody's kid or snatch up somebody's kid because their kid exposed your kid to something that you didn't want done, that they could call the police and hide behind the child. Now, this is something that I find truly disgusting. It is one reason why I used to support the LGBTQP, but I do not support them no more. Because there's one thing I can't stand in this world more than anything, and that's grown-ass adults that hide behind children. And we had people like this. We had people like these people overseas all the time. I mean, one instance, we was doing a checkpoint, and during our checkpoints, you have the concrete slabs, I guess you would call them. I don't know what the fuck they call them, but they set like this in the road, so that way you have to actually drive around this one. Then whenever you come up this one, you have to drive around this one. Basically, you're doing this, and basically it slows you down, makes it to where you can't be a suicide bomber and just drive up to our checkpoint and just kill us all. And we had this woman. She was walking up to the checkpoint, and I told her to stop or I will shoot. Stop or I will shoot. Stop or I will shoot. I ended up having to shoot. And whenever she fell down, you immediately call EOD. Anytime anything like that happens at a checkpoint, you immediately call EOD, because it could be a suicide bomber. You do not know, and your dumbass don't want to walk out there messing with something that could be a bomb. Because what the Shiites like to do, that's who I was dealing with, was the Shiites. What they like to do is they like to get someone, and they'll threaten this person's family, and they'll have them wear suicide vests. And the person who's wearing the vest won't actually have the trigger, because a lot of times people, it's not human nature to want to die. I mean, it's just not. So they'll make them wear the vest, and someone else watching with binoculars will actually have the detonator. So that way, whenever the person gets to the checkpoint, there is no backing out, because someone else is blowing your ass up. So I called EOD, and it takes EOD about 2 hours to actually mobilize and get out to where we were at. And they get there. And me and my buddies, we're just sitting there watching, and the dude in this big old fucking green suit, I don't even know what the green suit is called. I always thought it was fucking cool. But they walk up to the body, and he gets to messing around with the lump of clothing that she had on her chest. And whenever he goes to unravel it, a little baby's arm fell out. And for the longest time, man, it really messed me up, because I thought I killed. Because for the longest time, I thought I'd killed that baby. And so for like 3 months, I got with the engineers, and I started drinking like filtered diesel fuel. And I was abusing the Ranger candy that they had given us. And I was kind of falling behind on my duties, because I was too fucked up to really know what I was doing. And I had a gentleman, my lieutenant. I don't want to say no names, but he come to my little room, because we had these big old long tents, and like we all got real homesick. We decided that we were gonna do makeshift rooms in the tent, so we all had our own little makeshift room. And my lieutenant, he comes up, and me and him never got along. I actually threatened to kill him one day. And he knocks on my door, and he walks into the door, and like I stand up and I do my respect thing, because even though I don't like him, he's still my lieutenant. And he tells me, he handed me a report, and it was a briefing of that day. I don't understand how people can do this, because it bothers me thinking about it, because it was a baby. I'm talking about, it was like 3 years old, about the size of my son. But from what I read in the briefing, they had pictures of the baby. They had pictures of the dead kid, and I could see where my bullets went into his body. Sorry about that. Had to gather myself a minute. But I can see where my bullets actually went into the body. And I was flipping through pictures, because I really didn't want to look at the pictures. And it showed an incision. I thought that maybe the doctors had done it, but it looked kind of choppy. Which, medical professionals, they're not going to do an incision and it's going to look like it was done with a butcher knife. But the woman, it had taken her kid and had cut it from its armpit down to its waist, and had pulled out all of its organs. So the baby was already dead. The baby was already dead before she came up to our checkpoint. But they had stuffed it with 2 pounds of C4. She was gonna kill us that day. So the point that I'm trying to make is, people who do things to children and that hide behind children, people like that woman at the checkpoint, they've always done something to me. They've always pushed my buttons. Because as an adult, as a man, I feel like it's our job to protect children. And people like that woman and people like the LGBTQP community, they seek to exploit children and use children for their means and their gains, and their political means and their political gains, much like the mother of that baby did. She murdered her son so that way she could achieve a political goal, and that was to kill some American soldiers and go to wherever the fuck they want to go. But anyway, back to the topic. People like this that hide behind kids and that use kids, people who are not honest, people who are deceptive, we can't trust people to just be honest. It's not human nature to be 100% honest. Let's just face facts. And that sucks. But I seriously hope that we can come together, both communities, the gay community and the straight community. I don't see it. Do I think it will happen? No, I don't, because how can you as a parent get along and be cool with someone who exploits children? I don't see how you can. And they've already done it. They've been doing it. So there is no backing out on it. They are people who exploit children. That's just what it is. And if they wasn't people who was exploiting children, then people like my 10-year-old stepdaughter wouldn't be talking about some of the shit that she talks about. And I know a lot of you like to say, well, why do you, a lot of people like to say, well, why do y'all talk about it? Y'all like to use this to deter straight people from talking about these subjects, so that way we stay out of the conversations and we're not included in these conversations. So basically, so that way we don't have a say in what's going on. That's the reason why, straight people, this is only for you. If you're talking about these things and you're making a stand against these things, and they say, oh, well, you're so against it, you must be gay. You have to be gay. You must be in the closet. It must hurt your feelings to be attracted to it. All this is just them trying to scare you away, because they do not want you doing what you're doing. They want you to stop. And they know straight men don't like being called gay. We will stop what we're doing if we're being called gay. 9 times out of 10. Do not stop what you're doing. Stand against this. Take a stance. Gay people have equal rights. Nobody is killing them in the street. Nobody is beating their ass. I understand that some violent crimes happen against trans women, but that is because they lied about who they was and they manipulatively raped someone. You can't rape somebody and expect a positive reaction. If you manipulate someone, you make them think you're something, and then you have sex with that person and they find out afterwards, if they react in a violent way, that is perfectly acceptable. I mean, it is a reasonable response to being raped. No one is happy to be raped. As a straight man, the worst thing that could happen to you in prison is getting raped. No straight man is going to say, well, I'm getting locked up today, man. Hopefully Bubba will come up and just blow my ass out. No straight man thinks like that. That would be a terrible experience in prison to have. Being raped by a 300-pound man. I mean, that would just be fucking horrible. That that would destroy you emotionally. There needs to be new laws that's being written down. It is not transphobic. It is not homophobic. It is just the reality of the situation. Straight people are not gay. You cannot force us to be gay. Sleeping with a man, a biological man, is gay. I don't care if that man has mutilated his penis. I don't know if y'all know exactly how a fucking operation goes for trans people, but I'm about to educate you real quick. So let's say that this right here, or this right here is the penis. Let's say this right here is the penis. This right here is the blade. Now the blade is going to be on the inside of this tube. It's going to pop out like that. What they'll do is they'll take this blade and they will stick it on the inside of the penis, just like this right here. They'll press the button and the blades will pop open. Once they do that, they pull it out, effectively slicing the penis in half. Oh yeah, slicing the penis in half. So once they've done that, they'll take it, they'll create the fox vag, and they'll shove the penis up into there, and they'll do some little liquid stitching or gel stitching, whatever the fuck it is they do. They'll use the excess skin from like the head of the penis and stuff, and they'll create the labia or clit, whatever you want to call it. And then there you go. That's their fox vagina. I'm not going to say it's a vagina because all it really is an inside out penis. I mean, you're basically, whenever you shove your wiener into a trans person's vagina, you're effectively just rubbing your wee-wee up against the outside walls of a penis. I mean, it's just like you taking your wiener and doing this to another wiener. I mean, that's really all it is. That's it. I mean, it's not a vagina. It's like the Impossible Whopper at Burger King. It might smell like meat. It might look like meat. But that just ain't meat. It might look like a vajaj, but it ain't a vajaj. It's an impossible vajaj. I'm not vegan. I want the real thing. But I hope y'all enjoyed this one, and hopefully I don't offend nobody, which I know it's impossible to do, because if you're even talking about this shit and you're not gay, then you're not allowed to talk about it, because apparently y'all can make decisions on our life without us even saying nothing about it. That's stopping. We're saying something about it. Straight men don't want to sleep with a man. I don't care how much medical procedures you have. Your DNA says you're a man. You can never get pregnant. None of you could ever get pregnant. And I like how they like to use that. Well, not all women can get pregnant. No, not all women can get pregnant, but all women, DNA says that they're women. A woman not being able to get pregnant doesn't make her any less of a woman, because her DNA still says she's a woman. See, that's what you're failing to realize. You can't use the argument, well, not all women can get pregnant. No, not all women can get pregnant. But no trans woman can get pregnant, because you aren't women. I'm sorry. I know you really want to be, but you cannot expect a straight man like me to look at you and say, yep, that's a woman. Yep, that's a full-fledged woman. That's 100% woman, because you're not 100% woman. I cannot take you to the doctor's office and get you tested and that doctor tell me you're a woman. They're going to tell me, bro, that biologically it's a man. But she's still a woman, though, because they're cowards and they want to coddle and pander to your feelings, and they're afraid that you will end their career. Me, I don't give a shit. I don't have a career. But I hope y'all enjoyed today's show. Hit that like, that subscribe button. Make sure you get notified whenever I put up my next video. This is Scaps and Politics. This was a 30-minute long one. Hope y'all enjoyed it.